Do you keep handwritten notes?
No.
I think your daughter told me in her deposition that you don't email, and I observed that that's because you're a very smart person.
Yes, we've figured that out. It took a lot of people a long time to figure that out. That's right.
But do you make notes? Do you have anything on paper related to this case?
No, I don't. Well, it's a restaurant with a good name and a good reputation.
And by it, do you mean Mr. Zakarian's restaurants?
Yes,
Or?
yes. And we worked long and hard and spent a lot of money even in legal fees to get a lease signed. It was a very prime spot in the building. I actually think he made a mistake by not doing it, because I think he would have done well there. But a very prime spot in the building, and ultimately it got signed. I believe my son Don worked on it for the most part, but I haven't been involved in it almost at all. But we were happy to have him in the building. Well, I just know that they canceled the lease, I guess based on the fact I'm running for office, and they thought I made statements that were inflammatory in some form, and I don't know if they sent out a notice. I think what was maybe worse than sending out a notice, they went to the press. I don't understand why they did this. I'm running for office. I obviously have credibility because I now, as it turns out, became the Republican nominee, running against, we have a total of 17 people that were mostly senators and governors, highly respected people. So it's not like, I've said anything that could be so bad, because if I said something that was so bad, they wouldn't have had me go through all of these people and win all of these primary races, and I'm pretty even in the polls, or close to even in the polls right now. So, so I was very surprised that he wanted to get out of the lease.
Who's the decision maker for the Trump Old Post Office entity?
I would say in this case Ivanka and Don. I am ultimately, but I rely on them to make the decisions. The success of the campaign. People have said there's never been anything like this. O'Reilly said the other night, I think something to the effect that this is one of the great phenomena that he's ever seen in his lifetime. So it's been a lot of wins. We've beaten a lot of people, and I think people like that. So I think it's had I think it'll be great for the building in question, and I think we would have really been helped if we had that extra, that restaurant that we wanted to have very much.
Have you had conversations with your team internally about the impact, if any, of the campaign
No.
on the hotels?
No, I have not.
You understand, I'm sure, that what brings us together today is the decision that Mr. Zakarian and his entity made in the wake of the comments that you made when you announced your candidacy for president in June of 2016.
Okay.
And we have the transcript of what was said, but I don't think we need to go through all of it, but specifically focusing on the comments about Mexicans and immigrants, and making comments about Mexicans bringing
Illegal immigrants, yes, illegal.
Okay. And I understand,
which is a very big topic in this country, and which is a topic that, has led to my nomination in a major party in the country. So it's not a very out there topic.
did you write this statement in advance? Was it written?
No.
And did you plan in advance what you were going to say?
Yes.
Okay. Did you talk to other people about it?
No.
Did you give any thoughts to the effect that your statement relative to Mexicans and immigrants would have on tenants in your current or future projects?
No. No, I didn't. I didn't at all. It's possible that I'll help him as opposed to hurt him.
Help who?
If he had the restaurant, it would be helped as opposed to hurt.
Why do you think that?
Because you just said it. I mean, I've tapped into something, and I've tapped into illegal immigration. I've tapped into other things also, but You know, when you get more votes than anybody in the history of the party by far, more than Ronald Reagan, more than Richard Nixon, more than Dwight D. Eisenhower, who won the Second World War. You know, that's pretty mainstream.
Exhibit 188 is an article from, I know it's not your favorite media outlet, the Washington
No,
Post.
I agree. Highly inaccurate.